Hi everyone. I'm supposed to be recording a reading for, well, actually three readings for the new moon in Critica, but I thought I'd come on here and speak briefly about a latest street theatre tactic. Um, Basically, these neighbors right here who have never been racist in their lives, one of them decided to walk past my door, not just now, because just now somebody else did, but they just decided to walk past my door, use a slur, and then bleat on some whiny conversation about how I get online every time somebody makes a mistake. And at first, I was trying not to let it get to me because the thing is, when people use racial slurs, they get off on seeing your reaction. They get off on seeing you being shocked or angry. And especially if you can't get to them, if you can't touch them, or if you can't punch them in the face. Okay. So I was trying not to let it upset me at first. And then I felt my anger building. And then I realized these people have literally weaponized being a decent human being against me. These people have literally weaponized having self-respect against me. These people have literally weaponized me having healthy boundaries against me. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say when you're a targeted individual, every single thing that you do is used as a point of reference to shame you, including hating racism, hating people disrespecting you, and hating you, being being slandered or slurred for no reason. Self-respect. This is how desperate and pathetic gang stalking is. They will weaponize self-respect against you. So me being angry at racial slurs, now I'm really sitting here and I'm examining it and I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck shouldn't I be upset at racial slurs? Considering the cruelty that has already been inflicted on black people, not even for 400 years, but for longer than that, why shouldn't I be upset? Why should it not bother me? Why should I not let it not bother me? As a targeted individual, why should the smear campaigns not bother me? Why should the insults not bother me? Why should any of this not bother me? Why should everything that I have been subjected to not bother me? Why the fuck do I owe any of these psychopaths to be calm, to be reasonable? What do I owe them? Not a goddamn thing. And I know that they get off on my pain. I know that they get off on my tears. I know that they get off on my anger. And I know they get off on weaponizing that shit. But all of those things, they demonstrate my humanity. They demonstrate the fact that I still have a soul, that I still have self-respect, that I still have self-worth. Why the fuck should I censor that for these people? Now, as for the people who have used racial slurs against me, who have used ableist slurs against me, who have talked about my body being fat, whatever, I'd like to ask you guys a question. Why would you think to use these slurs and then try to whine about it after? Just say it with your chest. I would rather work for paedophile enablers. I would rather destroy my community piece by piece with this psychological warfare bullshit. I would rather endanger my children by ensuring abusers, open abusers, can get into power. I would rather have the ability to bully people without being yelled at, rather than have a black or neurodivergent traumatized woman living next door to me or living in my community. There, easy as pie. When I think about everything that's happened, not only during now, but during World War II, I realized something horrifying, that people would really, they would really rather send millions of people to their deaths than have to sit down and face being yelled at. That's what this whole political neo-reactionary conservative movement is about. They want to be able to say whatever fool thing is on their mind They want to be able to disrespect black people, disrespect immigrants, disrespect trans people, disrespect queer people, disrespect whoever it is they want to disrespect for being different to a white supremacist norm. They want to be able to be bigoted to as many people as possible without being yelled at. And they are willing to sacrifice millions of lives in order to get that. If you are not angry at that shit, you are soulless. I don't give a damn what anyone says. When you go out of your way to hurt another human being because you don't want to be yelled at for doing something wrong, or you don't want your feelings hurt for doing something wrong, you are a soulless piece of shit. If that doesn't make you angry, you're a soulless piece of shit. Soulless. Soulless. And I see it online, I see it in real life. People are increasingly taking pride in being soulless, in wanting to engage in psychopathic behavior and not be told off for it. They don't want to be shamed for things that are worth being shamed over. I've been bigoted in my past. I was shamed for it. I didn't die. In fact, I would rather be shamed for things that I've actually said and done wrong than be shamed for being myself, which 9 times out of 10 was the case. I've been shamed for wrongdoing. Guess what? I didn't fucking die. I just got better. I just decided, you know what? I'm going to be the type of woman who doesn't do that shit. Here we are, decades later. I'm the type of woman who doesn't, I went from being bigoted as a young person, thinking that was the only way I could be powerful, to standing up against bigotry and against trafficking with literally whole communities and the entire country against me. There's some of the most dangerous people in the world against me. Here I am, exactly the type of woman I said I would be. Because I was shamed for doing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being shamed for doing wrong. Being shamed for being yourself, cunt behavior. That's cunt behavior on behalf of the people shaming you. But to be shamed for willfully hurting people, for racism, for sexism, for queerphobia, transphobia, for being a fucking perp in a gang-stalking trafficking ring, you should be fucking shamed at the very least. You're lucky to get that. You're lucky to get that. So yeah, a racial slur was used today again. Once again, I was angry about it. And I was basically in my head circulating, finding other targets to pick. No, let's be honest about the situation. You're enough of a cunt already for being involved in gang stalking. And you know that gang stalking is facilitating child trafficking. And you also know that when it comes to trafficking, as a rule, only 10 to 15% make it out alive. There are more TIs dead than TIs who have actually made it out. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that no TIs have made it out, if any. Only a few TIs have made it out, if any. Because it's a trafficking ring. Only 10 to 15% of trafficking victims make it out alive. I literally know of more dead TIs than TIs who are no longer TIs. And who are not perps either. Because that's what this system is. So just say it with your chest. Stop whining. You want to be a racist piece of shit on behalf of paedophile enabling traffickers? Just say that. You want to be an ableist piece of shit to enable genocidal traffickers? Just say that. Just say that. It is who you are. Stand in it. And if you can't stand in it, then do something else. But stop the fucking whining. And you know what? I'm not going to allow gang stalkers to weaponize my boundaries anymore. I'm not going to allow them to do it. If I'm going to be upset, I'm going to be upset. Fuck all of them. Bye.